Hi, Anil. How are you?
I am good, little bit embarrassed that I couldn't make any story because I'm honestly want to make it very beautiful, so which I can use for my purpose later on. So I'm just
Yeah, you're stuck on imperfection, right?
yes, and because I have so many topic, if you can say I want to talk about women's empowerment, decision making, reality check of this capitalism. So like so many option actually.
Mm-hmm. How about how
Yeah.
about you just talk about you?
I know. I actually I have delivered three speeches, which is on the YouTube, and I want to do something different. Like there's one YouTube where I talk about myself, like moving to here and there, and second is about refugees, which is more again about me. I really want this time to change how we can think out of the box and how the power decision making seems like we have power, but being a female, we do not have the power to make our own decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to give a showcase how these factors need to be highlighted and to make visible, like the power decision is not in our power.
Right.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, hi Aishwarya.
And today is my anniversary, so my husband gave me this beautiful flower.
Oh, congratulations! Happy anniversary!
I was cooking, just came out. You can see I just came out from the kitchen.
It's nice. It's beautiful. Hopefully, this will be an add-on to your anniversary
Yes.
session.
Hello, Aishwarya.
Hi, Aishwarya.
Hi,
It must be very late in India, right? What's the time?
it's 10:30, so pardon my yawns. I'm going to be yawning all throughout. But I'm
Sorry. I'm
And it
sorry, but
must
thank you for making it.
and must be very
thank you
hot
so much.
nowadays. Very hot.
No, it's actually raining, so it's very
Ah,
pleasant.
so you have monsoon.
Yeah.
I miss monsoon really. If I describe what is monsoon, no one understand what is barsat. Like it's not a barish, it's not a rain.
Uh-huh. But
It's a
you
rain.
don't have rainy weather there, is it?
Netherlands is about rains, but they are rains. Very cold, full of wind, very horrible. You can't enjoy taking the bath, which we do in
Oh,
Pakistan and India.
Mm,
I get you. Yeah.
what's monsoon exactly?
So monsoon is typical 1 or 2 months weather when it comes to South Asian countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and Nepal, and it's raining all day, and we have sometimes floods, some much, but it's the because we have a like very hot weather before that, and when this weather comes, there are so many rains, but we enjoy. So we and the weather called monsoon because it comes every year in a same
Yeah.
August, July, August this time period and weather change and we have heavy rains but we enjoy rain we take special cooking cuisines parties and this we really enjoy the weather and we have so much music on rains so much songs on rains
Yeah.
so much romance.
So pleasant rain, not
Yeah,
Yeah.
destructive.
no, like in Netherlands everyone's cry, oh not again the gray weather, and it's
Yeah,
like
because they
very
have too much of it.
yeah
Yeah. I
every
guess so.
every day.
Around the year.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see the rest of the ladies. How are we doing? We have Vito and Yvonne.
Anna is not joining, right?
Maria will not make it.
Maria, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
So how was it for you, Aishwarya?
Um, I actually thought of like a couple of ideas and then got muddled across all of them because midway through I'm like, no, I don't have enough content to make a speech out of this one. And then I went with with what I would want to make speeches for. So work is more comfortable and convenient to make speeches about, right? Because there's enough data, there's enough stories, and a lot of that as well. So I was like, maybe I should talk something about work and work related speeches than anything else. So I mean, can you hear me well though? Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm just now, I thought I was more, I was convinced about what I wanted to speak about. I am completely confused now. I've gone through the videos twice and I'm just confused. So
Okay, we must do something about that. I think, okay, now you're sharing the same challenge. Let's see about video and Yvonne as well. Hello.
How is everyone?
Great. How are you?
great.
I'm very well, thank you. A bit jaded. I've been sat in front of a computer since 8 o'clock this morning.
Oh,
But
thank you,
thank you
thank you
guys
for
for being
making
so
it.
flexible.
Thanks to all of you. Thank you for making it. I know it's challenging. Even for me, I asked my husband to take my daughter out, although it's her bedtime. So they're out right now. They will come late. But it's once in a while. That's fine. We don't do this often. So, okay. Let's see about Yvonne. But Vido, how was it for you?
Fine, thank you. It's been super busy, but you know, going well. Had a lovely weekend with my friends. So thank you for being flexible yesterday. I really appreciated
No
that.
problem. Glad you enjoyed it.
It was good. It was really good. And then we got stuck in traffic on the way home, so that was less good. But anyway, very fine. It was all
Well,
good.
after a beautiful day or a beautiful weekend, then it's fine.
Exactly. It was worth it, right? It was worth. We hadn't seen each other for 2 years because of COVID,
Mm,
so it was really nice to see them.
that's
And
beautiful.
work's
But-
going well. The speeches. I'm looking forward to today's session. I've got lots of questions. I feel like Anila was maybe having a similar sort of challenge to me.
Actually, everyone, I think. Let's see about Yvonne. But since she said maybe she might be late, I think last time, and
Yeah. Did she have the wedding? Was she at a wedding yesterday?
She had a
No,
wedding,
that was
yeah.
a different one. Oh, that's the August.
Oh, that's the August one. Yeah. Today she said she's supposed to be free. Let's however start a little bit because she said I think she's not as struggling as everybody else with the topic. She found some clarity, which is beautiful. Very good. Now I want to hear from every one of you. So I heard a little bit from Anila having so many stories and not or topics. I'm not sure which one. Aishwarya is thinking to be efficient and use this. Also, Anila wants to use this for something practical. And Vido, what about you? What's your challenge exactly?
So I have a story, and it's a story that I had started to tell a couple of weeks ago. And I think what I have is a hook to make it into a speech. The challenge I've got is I'm not sure how to transition from that into the story to make it a speech, and whether I can use the entire story as my speech, which is effectively what I want to do. I don't have, the body. There are 3 parts of the body, but it's not like the first point is this and the second point is this, the third point is this. It's just, this is the start of the story. This is the middle of the story. And this is what I want you to take away from the story. But I'm struggling to transition. In this transition points, I'm struggling.
Well, that's an easier challenge. Since you already have your story, you know exactly the main point, you know what the takeaway you want people to get.
I think so. Yeah, I think I've done all of that work, and I guess the other thing is it's not like a scientific speech or it's just a story that I think taught me a lesson, a life lesson, and that's what I want to turn into a speech. So I suppose part of me is a little bit like, who am I to share this life lesson? Like, people must have these experiences all the time.
Yes.
So,
well, actually, this is amazing because this is the exact point of the whole program. It's not about sharing scientific information or being really informative about our speeches. It's truly about using our own stories to inspire. We're not here to educate. We can use the same structure to educate. But specifically, this program is not really about education, it's more about inspiration through our own stories. It is good to use it for business and for other things, but the purpose of our program is not that. So we practice with our own stories, and then we can use it in more efficient, if we can say, purposes. But for the sake of our event on the 30th of August, hopefully, for that purpose, what we want to do is to share our stories. And that now, I want to go to Anila and Aishwarya, because it seems, Vidhu, you already got that part of it. So you have the story, we can dig deeper in it. But also for Anila and Aishwarya, yes, Aishwarya, you were talking about work, and it's the easiest, we have more information about it and all of these things, so it's your safe zone. We don't need information. We don't need that. The
That
only thing
helps. That actually helps, because it helps me, distill things that I'm not supposed to focus on, because I had multiple stories in my head while I was working on the exercise, and I just got completely muddled, because one is passion driven and has a lot of emotion, and like Vidhu said, it's very precious for me because I really cherish it and I really cherish that experience. I don't know how relevant or useful it might be for others hearing it. So then I'm like, no, I need to be practical. I need to look at something what others want to listen to, and then work backwards. So I worked backwards from step 3, which is what is the message I want to leave. Then went on to point 1, which is how do I then make the message and the introduction of the message more enduring, and then looked at the body. No wonder I got muddled. But this helps if you're saying that we need to focus on the stories of our life to actually share experiences and leave messages with respect to what worked for us. I get that now. Yeah.
Very good, very good. And remember, in the second week, what I told you, it's the same thing. I told you choose between 3 topics: a story of success after failure, getting out of your comfort zone, and overcoming fear. This is I'm trying to limit you so your mind doesn't wander too much. You can definitely choose a different story if it matters to you, but I want it specifically to be really emotional. It has to be emotional. When I say emotional, it means it moves something in your heart when you think about it. That's what matters, because if we're saying inspiring stories, and if the story is the whole speech, we're not using a story just to make one simple point. If the story is the whole speech, then it has to connect deeply with you so you can share it deeply. When you share it, it connects with other people. That's the main thing that we're trying to achieve here. How does that sound for you, Anila?
For me, as I said, I really, really want to take this opportunity of this practicing, because actually, first week of November, we are having a pitch day in Netherlands, where we are inviting different funders with the donors, and where we are pitching, because our work at New Women Connect is totally different, and it's quite challenging because we are aggressively criticizing the policies. So that's why I said I have my own story, like why, and that's why I'm saying I really want to say about power of decision, but how I grew up in such kind of conservative country where I didn't have my own choice to make my own decision. I have this story, but again, similar experience I had in Netherlands when I became a refugee and woman, where municipality decided on my behalf. But then how you can say about woman empowerment? This is fake, like bogus, like totally fake. You are not giving us resources. You are not investing on us. You are just taking us as a objective, and how I can make a decision about my future. So that's why I really want to make it a very true, powerful, and I'm willing, and I saw your all videos, and as Aishwarya said, 2 times even sometime, this whole 3 days, trust me, this is my earbuds, and while I'm cooking, I'm listening, like I'm listening to like again and again, and my whole family saying, what you are doing, mama? I'm listening. It's like, in Urdu we say it like, maybe you have this word in Arabic, wazifa. means when you repeating you. So I was feeling like I'm doing wazifa.
Yes,
Because
it's
I
a
am so
homework.
much passionate about my work, and but still being a newcomer in Europe, having brown skin and Muslim identity, I'm feeling they're pushing me away. And this decision of power, I really want to show them, like, look, this everything either is gender equality, equity, inclusion, integration is fake until you are giving investment to us to make our own position, to make our own decision. This is my story.
So it sounds like you're trying to make a persuasive speech rather than an inspirational speech.
I don't know what is that, but yeah, something like this.
You want to convince people with something.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's persuasive. There are some techniques in persuasive speeches to be, if you want to deliver them with power, there are some techniques to do that. I can share them with you, but using this structure, this exact same structure, might not get you exactly to where you want to go, because it's more directed towards sharing a specific story or specific stories to move people's emotions. If you want your speech to be persuasive, you want to talk about the problem and the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the hook needs to be shocking for them.
Yeah.
You need to move their emotions in a strong way, and you would want to be a little, I'm hearing it in your voice, a little more aggressive sometimes, because you want to draw the picture in an even exaggerated way so they can see it clearly. Right? So you want to start with a problem and start with putting it as a shocking fact, for example, to them, and then slowly make your point you can use actually the same structure, but the purpose of everything will be different. So using the main point as what do you think could work, but then putting your solution in the middle. The story your story will be as an evidence, and your solution would be in the end. This is what you think would work. This is how things should be.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
And eventually what you need to do is also to show them, what if this doesn't work? If what you're saying is not working, what you're saying does not happen, what kind of disaster would be in their world? So you want to show them the whole thing.
Okay. Yes.
Hello Yvonne, welcome.
Hello, just a minute, please.
Sure. So Anila, this is good that you want to use the same one for this. I would actually want to encourage you to try to deliver something different right now. And as you practice using the structure, you will be more familiar, and you can go a little bit more, in detail, using a persuasive speech, applying it for a persuasive speech. Because what you want to know also, that what we are delivering, it will be delivered in front of a global community, specifically of women community. So it's directed towards people who are other than the ones you want to write the other speech for. You want to make it relevant for your audience, and what I want to encourage you, and that's for all of you, is to do something that you might not be used to do usually, to bring the vulnerability and the tenderness of you, rather than being just, most of us are a go-getter. I want to change the world, I want to fight this, I don't want this to happen, but more of a pushy way, like, I want these people to change. Rather than that, just try, for the sake of this program, to do it differently. This is my story, and this is what I got out of it, and I want to be generous and share this with you. What I learned, what I experienced, I want to share it with you out of love. The purpose is love for the other, not frustration from the other. No, really, truly, love for the other. I'm sharing with you because I love you. because I want you to get what I got, to learn what I learned. I'm sharing my own vulnerability and my own story, and these are the lessons I learned from my journey. How does that sound? Fido?
So I suppose one of the things I'm a bit worried about in my speech is that it's a bit preachy. You know, so it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of this is something that I've experienced and this is how I've adapted it in my life. And then the call to action is, and wouldn't the world be a better place if everybody practiced? It's around kindness. The theme is kindness. So if everybody practiced a bit more kindness, wouldn't the world be a better place? Is kind of the gist of where it's going. My worry is that people will be like, it's a bit preachy. I don't know if anyone else can resonate with that and how to avoid it being preachy, but being more a statement of, you know, I think fundamentally the world would be a better place if we were all kinder to each other and we came from a place of love, etc. But I don't know how to say it without sounding like I'm judging them.
Here is a question for you, to you, Fido. Is your speech about something that you overcame, you realized, you grew through it? Or is it something that other people did? And
so it's about a time when strangers showed me kindness and they didn't have to.
Okay, that's nice. That's really nice. Would it apply to the V method?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, I think the V method really helps in kind of overcoming this feeling of being preachy, because it shows, when you show so much vulnerability, when you show so much emotions, people stop seeing you as preaching and start seeing, living what you were living. That's from my experience. That's how I feel. When a person is being truly vulnerable and then sharing their findings and sharing their like realization and their growth,
then
it's not really preachy. I'm sharing with you, and wouldn't the world be nicer if more people are kinder?
Cool. Okay, maybe, yeah, because I think that was part of my concern, was I don't want to sound like I'm preaching to them about, you know, everyone needs to be kinder. That's not the point. It's just having experienced kindness, the big takeaway is to be kind in turn.
Yes, yes. And I would suggest, although I don't know your speech exactly yet, but I would suggest starting also with the argument that you already have maybe in your head or you had before, and you might think that the audience might have, addressing it, that maybe we don't need to be kinder. The world is tough. The world is full of people that do not deserve kindness. Maybe that's some ideas that other people had.
Yeah.
So if you ever had these thoughts before experiencing this kindness from these strangers, and then experiencing it, so you show where you were before, even with your thoughts, not the situation, not only the situation, but also the mindset.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So you show the transformation of mindset as well, maybe. Hello, Yvonne? It's muted.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for my tardiness. I got caught up in some really complex work thing today, and we had so many meetings. Totally forgot.
No problem, no
Just
problem. I know
finished.
it's a working day. It's tricky for all of us.
Really bad. Yeah, really. Yes.
And it's Anila's anniversary, by the way.
Who's Anila's anniversary? Oh, congratulations. You're muted, sweetheart.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think these are real. Can you believe magical blue flowers? These are
amazing, beautiful.
Oh, that's nice. They're real.
Do they have a scent?
Thank you.
Do they smell nice?
In Netherlands, they only seems nice. Flowers does not have any kind of smell like we used to have in South Asian culture. I like food, no taste, no complaint. Enough. My husband said you complain too much, but I said because I know, you know, the taste, the flavor, and the smell.
So you have a lot to share.
Yes. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what about you, Yvonne? How was it? It seems like you had some clarity.
Yes, yes, yes.
First of all, okay, the wedding is not this weekend, right? The wedding is still later.
Oh yeah, the wedding is the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I realized, looking at the dates, that it was Tuesday, last Tuesday, when I had that page open. The page was very detailed, and I realized yesterday that I had a brain freeze at that point. I just couldn't do any more, and then I felt overwhelmed, and then there was a message in the WhatsApp saying, "How are you getting?" And I was like, "Oh."
A wake-up call.
I'm a whole day yesterday. A friend said she was popping over, and all day I prayed she wouldn't come, and she didn't, thank God. But anyway, I was thinking, no, please don't press the doorbell. Don't. Yeah, I spent all day on it. It's a friend who's getting married, actually.
Oh.
So I wanted to see her, but I wanted to do this thing, and she's a bit unreliable. So I think, well, she may not come, but she didn't. So the universe gives us what we need. Yes. So yeah, it would have been nice to see her, but anyway, but I got my thing done. Oh boy. I decided to use a topic. In the end, I decided to use a topic that I want to speak about, possibly even as a TED talk at some point. So it's something that will need to be developed and perfected, along the way. But at the moment, it's important because I need to formulate my arguments around my current topic in relation to service versus servitude, because it's a new idea that I'm putting out there. So but then after I did it, I thought to myself, it felt a bit kind of academic-ish, because I took your advice, I took your notes, and I thought, how do you start with it? And so I started by talking about the high rate of business failure, the disproportionate rate of failure of small business. And so then I then positioned my argument about creating a better customer service experience as something that the business owner can control, because you can't control the banks refusing you loans. You can't control investment. Venture capitalists only funding 1% of Black businesses, but you can control some things, yes. So I positioned it in that context. So I started with shocking statistics. And then in the middle of it, I thought to myself, oh my God, there isn't really a story here. So then I got to about midnight last night, I thought, you must stop now. So then I was thinking, yes, I need to, where I talk about some examples of poor service, I decided to put myself in the center. So what I did at the last minute, I said, I do it too. I go to hairdressers and sit for 4 hours. I don't do it really anymore, but I did. And I go to places where there is poor service because I want authenticity of food. So, but I wasn't in it before. You see, I was talking about these experiences, and then I thought to myself, it seems a bit, do you know what I mean? Bit distant, yeah. So I said, I do it. So I think the audience might be surprised to find that I do this stupidness, but we do it because we want authenticity and because there's scarcity, not because the service is good. It's because we want an authentic service or authentic product.
What do you want to reach out of it?
Pardon?
What's the purpose of the speech?
Okay, so the purpose is to position myself as an expert. The position,
that's the hidden purpose.
And the purpose is to position myself as a thought leader. The purpose is to get people to buy my book, because that's the call to action, to get more information. I took up the suggestion of the free did what half an hour diagnostic on I did that, but I thought maybe I'm giving away too much with a book and free diagnostic. So I need to look at that one again. But I thought it was a good opportunity for list building to offer people to sign the first 5 that sign up. So I used that wholesale.
You're more talking about the hidden purpose. What's the specific purpose? What's in it for them?
Oh, what's in it for them? Oh, sorry, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to look at a situation from another perspective. And to look at it, what's in it for them is an opportunity to grow their business and sustain their business.
What's in it for them? What's in your speech for them? What kind of value are you
learning? A new learning opportunity?
What is it exactly? Being specific. Remember, we are specific here. What are they getting?
Oh my Lord. Maybe nothing then. The opportunity to, I would have thought, I don't know, but you have to tell me. I would have thought it was an opportunity to do things different when they get back.
What is the thing that they are going to do different?
They're going to, what I've asked is for them to consider themselves. What did I say? To consider their behavior and how they treat, where's my speech? To consider their behavior and how they treat staff. My speech.
That's what you're asking from them.
Yeah, I'm asking them to be reflective, you see.
Yeah, you're asking them to be reflective, but what are you giving them?
I'm giving them the tools, mate.
Okay, so the tools
I'm giving them the tools. I need to think about this. I'm giving them the tool. I'm asking, I don't know if I'm giving them anything really. I need to look at my speech again. I'm asking them to give them the tools to create to consider creating a better customer experience. No, maybe not.
So are you providing an alternative tool that will help them create a better customer experience? And through your speech, they would learn how to use it, or they will be aware of its existence?
That's what you mean, right? Okay, so there's a chance to upsell. Okay, yeah, I'm working on that. Yeah.
So think about it as if you're telling someone, come watch my speech, because out of my speech you will receive this. Forget about the book, the access to your book now? No, but out of my speech, because you listened to my speech, you will learn this, or you will receive this, you will get this.
Well, you see, I was hoping that they will learn, I was hoping that they will learn, or their minds will be open to the idea that there is a conflation of service versus servitude. But like you say, but then how do they, like I say, how do they address that? What do I give them? Yeah.
And why would anybody come if you tell them, hey, come listen to me because I will teach you, or you will learn that there is this? Would they want?
No, they want solution. Oh, please. I mean,
and therefore, now
I thought I did so well.
Well, it's a very good start. It's a good way of thinking. And again, what I'm hearing from you is also what it sounds to be a persuasive speech.
What, sorry?
A persuasive speech. It means you're trying to convince people with something, with an idea. Or is it an educational speech?
Yeah, I've put it, I found it now. I put it down as educational.
It's educational, so you're giving.
And I said, what this? So this may be wrong, because I said, what's in it for them? I said, provide a new perspective on a well-known issue, an opportunity to view a subject in a different way, to bring some depth and seriousness to what is currently a topic of mirth.
Okay. Okay, so you're telling them, giving, if you want to say it to them, can you say any of that to them? I'm giving you a new perspective on what?
Okay, let me explain something, because I don't know how to respond. Yeah, currently, and I hope I'm not hogging the session. Is that
we're
okay?
having. I think everybody's benefiting from this.
Oh, okay. I don't want to bore anybody or hog the session. Okay, currently there is a situation, and it's this: there are some types of businesses run by people of African and Caribbean descent that have poor customer service. Not all, but there are some. It's very small micro businesses. It is the butt of jokes in our community. I was told by a woman last week, you can't approach this. You've written a book. Why would you do that? You can't approach this from a serious point of view. It's a joke. There are other people in the community who think there's nothing funny about it. Time now. Stop thinking it's funny. It's not funny. You know, people need to do better. Okay. The BBC did a comedy series in the 90s called anyway, a comedy series, BBC comedy series, where they actually had a cafe, a Jamaican cafe called Misery Cafe. If you watch this program today, it's still hilarious. You know, the way someone asks for service and the way they're spoken to, people think it's absolutely funny. Okay, I'm saying it's not funny because this is real business, real life, people's money, community wealth, everything's been impacted by this nonsense. And also the world is changing. You know, there was a report last week where the British hair industry has decided to train up all high street shops, white people, to do black hair.
Mm-hmm.
So where will that lead? And there's a lot of black women who are celebrating that because they can afford it. They want proper appointments. They want to go in and come out and not wait 4 hours. I'm not suggesting that white hairdressers are going to be able to do black hairstyles of a certain type, but they're probably able to do basic things, yeah? So that is going to impinge on the industry, the hairdressing industry for a start. Somebody set up a Caribbean themed restaurant across the UK. It worked, and it works for white people. It's got rum cocktails. They've appropriated Jamaican reggae icons on the wall, Bob Marley and all that stuff. But the food is not authentic. So it didn't really dent. But, you know, it only takes for someone to do that properly. Of course, it wasn't a black person to do business. Of course, it was a big hoo-ha. Ooh, they're, you know, appropriating, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I'm trying to, that's what I'm addressing.
Right. Okay. So
right.
I think this is a very important topic. Now, my question to you is, do you have a personal story related to this?
Well, in terms of bad service.
Yeah.
Several.
Is there something that would serve the point you're making? So what is the point you're making anyway? Are you trying to make people aware that bad service affects business and it doesn't support business? Is that the point?
That's the point.
So you're showing them what doesn't work.
Yes.
Okay. And you have personal stories related to that. So it's more educational. Here I'm hearing you're telling people, here are 3 things that wouldn't work. If you put, for example, the African hair, you have people who know how to do it and they're out of jobs, and you have people who don't know how to do it and you want to train them. That doesn't work. And you're telling them that if you put a label on a restaurant doesn't mean that it's authentic. If you put a label and you do the right decoration, it doesn't give the service. That's not the real thing. And a third thing maybe you would choose, that is the third thing that does not work in business. It doesn't, through which you cannot achieve a successful business, right? So what you're giving to people is 3 things that do not work in business. You can put it in your own words, of course.
Ah, okay, right. Okay, so then one could tell stories around the poor customer service incidents, if you like, which probably again be quite funny. But you could tell the 3 stories. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you can even label it as 3 things you do to break your business, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, but however, having all of that said, it's an important speech. But for the purpose of our program, we want to do something differently. And you would want to get out of your comfort zone, and each one of you, we are getting out of our comfort zone because of this program. This is the purpose. So meaning we start being more vulnerable. We're not only talking about bad customer service that we've been through, we are talking about revelation that we've experienced. That's what we are trying to share with the world. So we are more focused on inspiring speeches, inspirations based on our own stories, our own life experiences.
Okay.
After doing this, you can then use the structure and all the learning you got out of the program to build whatever other amazing, important speeches and very valuable speeches you have. But for the purpose of this, we would want your story. So you bring yourself to the world and you help the world learn from your own learnings, from the lessons that you've experienced, and grow the way you grew. Okay. So as I said, in the second week, we talked about 3 main topics. And I think it's easy. If you walk around these 3 themes, you will find big things that you can talk about. Success after failure, and overcoming fear, and getting out of your comfort zone.
Oh, I did those.
You did those.
I wrote on all of those 3.
Perfect. Now, I didn't see any video from any of you in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I haven't put it there. Sorry, I've still got mine on my phone and shared it with the guys on WhatsApp, but I haven't put it.
I'm still waiting for the ending of that one video.
So that's the one that I'm going to develop.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Learning from failure, stepping out of your comfort zone, and
I want to give you 2 minutes to reflect on that, because it seems like I have an important call from my husband. I have to check. So please take a few minutes to think about the stories you want to share, okay?
learning from failure. I'll do that one. Oh,
Quite hard.
oh God.
Guys, can I ask, how did you do the personal credibility piece? Like
Which one?
so you know when you're using a personal story.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if any of you managed to work out what the personal credibility.
Oh.
I was actually wondering about the same question, but then I feel it becomes easier in a way if your entire speech is about your own story. You become the credibility, right? Because you've undergone it. So if I'm giving advice as someone who's failed at something, I own the credibility because I have gone through it. I've lived through failure and I've survived, which is why I'm telling you that you can fail and survive too. I felt, I mean, that's what I was thinking with respect to if our speeches are around our stories,
Then
credibility becomes easier to establish. I got stuck when I was looking at the speech as a concept and then trying to force fit like my CV into it, that I speak about this because
yeah, because I was like, how do I even build personal, like, yeah, what's the personal credibility line that you say? You've got to believe me because I had this experience.
the thing is, I don't think we need to say it. So that's what I wanted to actually check with Omnia. That do we even need to say that I am here saying the story because I have lived through it, or do we just let the story speak for itself? And we just, when we do the intro and then the segue into the body, we sort of give an overview in the intro, right? That I'm living through this experience or something like that. And then by the time you segue into the main body, the audience already knows that this is your story. So obviously you're going to be speaking it.
Credible.
Credible. Yeah, that's credible. Yeah. it's like the hopscotch story you told. You know what I mean? You said, yeah, it's very credible in it because you playing hopscotch, and we kind of got right into it. The chalk. I
Okay,
never
that's
forget
really
that story. The
helpful because
chalk
I
on the
think
ground.
I think that's probably where I've been getting stuck a bit this week, is going tick, I've got this, tick, I've got words that say this, tick, I've got words that say that. But actually, I think what you're saying, Ashwara, is a really good point, that you don't need to actually have words to say.
So that's exactly the reason why I got confused between stories, because I felt there were too many blanks that I needed to fill. So one
Mm.
if my story was not filling all the blanks, and then I'll be like, okay, not a good story. Let me go on to something which is more content heavy and probably ticks all the boxes. But then there was no emotion there. It was
Mm.
actual. So, which is why when I started getting too caught up in like, trying to fill in the blanks versus trying to say a story, I just stopped. And then I thought we're anyway catching up now. So,
That's
probably
really, yeah.
So I'm
That's super
back,
helpful.
and thank you for this discussion. I see where Aishwarya is, and I think it's because we worry too much. So if there is a story that you like so much, and as I said, the structure is not set in stone. It's a guideline that we can use. If there is a story, a topic that you would really want, you're so passionate about, it's full of emotions that you want to share, it will fill all the blanks. We will work together to fill all the blanks with it, because we will be digging and bringing all the details together. Okay, so do you all know now what is the story you're sharing? Do you have an idea? I know that Vidho is clear about that. Anila?
For me, I'm as I said, I have so many ideas actually. So I for so many experience. But I think for that specific event, I would like to say to, some kind of inspiration, like when we see, as you said, how we judge people on their perception. And I just want to use, which I sometimes used actually in my lecture, to think about what they feel when they hear word refugee. Just close your eyes and just imagine. You will feel like, vulnerable woman crying, looking for help. And then after a few seconds, I sometimes say, okay, now open your eyes and now think about leadership, leaders, some woman. So maybe you hardly imagine any woman like me. You will think about not like me. So this kind of thinking I'm just to do, just to give them inspirational how we can change the role models.
So do you want to share your refugee story?
Yes.
Where you've been, how you became a refugee, and where you are today?
Yeah.
Amazing. Beautiful. What do you think is the specific purpose here? What's the specific value that they will get?
I think it's like anyone can become a refugee, so we shouldn't put a stigma. And we just think about people who are becoming refugee, they are human beings. Like, why this stigmatization, that tokenization, which is stick with refugee status. I just want to, like, it's just about human rights. I really want, yeah.
And you're helping them have a complete shift in their mindset towards how they understand refugees.
Yeah.
Or a new perspective on that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that would be a good one. Aishwarya, how is it?
So I'm again stuck. Now I know what I'm going to be talking about. I am sort of stuck on the structure a bit, because one is my personal story with respect to how I could overcome failure. And I feel to a great extent, the reason for me overcoming failure was because someone else showed faith in me, and that someone was a woman. So I also feel, and so that's one story, which is my story of, how I was uncertain about a lot of things, but someone really saw the spark in me, pulled me out of my discomfort zone, and basically just put me out on the stage. And because they believed more than me that I could do it. So they showed that faith. And there's another story, which in fact I just lived this like in the last week, where I felt that I was almost on the brink of not doing it to another woman. And I sort of stopped myself from, from actually stop myself from disempowering another woman, because I was just completely unaware. And I feel that because I could stop myself and I sort of caught myself, and I did something which I feel gave that woman confidence. That got me thinking on, how all of us have the power, as more probably as women, because I feel strongly about that all of us have the power to get other women to also grow, or at least not let other women fall, if not grow. And I want to keep it as simple as that. So the crux of what I was thinking was the same along these lines, but then I was going along the spectrum from being as simple as it is like this to how you can support women through development aid programs and put all the facts and stuff there, because I also know that aspect of what empowerment means. But I also want to keep, so basically my speech, I wanted to be around how each one of us has the power to lift other women up. And those women can be anyone and everyone, ranging from your mothers to your colleagues to someone you see on the street. And you have the power to actually lift them up. And it doesn't take much, doesn't take too many resources, it doesn't take money. It probably just takes a smile, a good word, a pat on the back, to maybe other things which, like maybe what Yvonne will say more about, investing, about placing faith. So I'm still trying to articulate my thoughts around it, but the sort of the crux of what I want to say is this, that I think all of us as women should basically lift other women up or not let them fall. Yeah, in a nutshell.
Beautiful. So now you talked about two specific stories. First, how in the past a woman helped you, and then what happened last week when you were about to stop yourself from helping someone.
Yes. So I don't know how to weave both the stories in, but they're very linked. Because the second one got me thinking about the first one, and how it's almost like an experiment, right? Like the control group and the focus group, and how one variable makes all the difference.
Yes.
So that's what got me thinking. Now I don't know how to weave both the stories in, and whether I should.
Aishwarya, that in itself is the story. So imagine it's a movie. You bring people to what happened last week. You're in that situation, you're about to help someone, you could help someone, you know you can help her, but you were stopping yourself from that. But then the flash of awareness went on, and you went back with your memory to the story of the person who helped you. So the hook can be the story of last week. And then you tell people, I'm about to share with you a story of how I learned that any woman can be helpful to other people. And that's how you start introducing them to the other story and take them to the steps of the other story. And in the end, the ending will be everything that you just said, that everyone can help anyone, and us women, we need to help each other. And when we help each other, we all grow together, and all of the beautiful things that you shared, and when you articulate it in your own words, that would be the ending, the realization that you got and that you remembered last week. So in the ending, you can bring people again to the same place you were in last week, bring them again, that's what you remembered, and then what you did afterwards without details, but just you decided to keep it in mind. So the easy things about the stories, the beauty of stories is that they tell you how to weave them. It's exactly how it happened.
The other worry that I had was actually somewhat what Vidhu was saying. Not preachy sounding. I felt my message was very simple. Maybe I should be more preachy. And you know, I mean, because when I was saying this story, I feel that, but maybe everyone thinks that way. What am I saying new, or am I saying something so unique?
This is so important. What you're just saying now is so important. We are so unique, but our thinking is not unique in this world. If one of us thinks this way, then so many of us are thinking the same. If your mind at one point tried to stop you from helping someone, then so many of us had the same thing. Some of us were aware of it, some of us were not aware of it. So you're helping those who might not be aware of the importance of helping, or they can or cannot help. You're helping them overcome this, or be aware of it.
Exactly.
Just be aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is one thing that we do to ourselves so much, is that we think when we are in a simple or weaker place in our mind, when we think that this is not a very big, huge experiment or huge story, we think then it's unique to us. We keep it to ourselves, everybody else knows it anyway. But no, if it happened to us, if we thought this way, then so many other people will think this way. And it will help them.
And we were having a discussion while you were on your call, and I'm just bringing that back here. So Vidhu had a question on, how do we come to the credibility aspect? I mean, how do we establish credibility of the speaker? So we were just thinking that, I don't know whether it's correct or not, but then when there are stories which are more personal, you don't need to call out your credibility separately, because the very fact that you've gone through the story and you're sharing it establishes your credibility of sharing your learning, because you've learned it and you want to share it. Is that correct? Or is that how we establish credibility?
I agree a lot on what you're saying. If you're sharing your credibility as the full speech, if your speech is showing exactly your credibility, then you don't really need to show it. But you can also give a small introduction. I would think of Anila here. You can introduce yourself. I'm a political refugee from Pakistan, and this is my story. So you're giving credibility in very short words, showing the vulnerability, and then walking them through the story. You're giving an introduction of who you are. You could do that, but you could also eliminate this part from your speech if you think you want to add some suspense. So they don't know that you're a refugee, but you're walking them through the journey, and then you're telling them, I ended up being a refugee, and this is where I am now. So it's up to you how you want to represent yourself. There's always a way to show the credibility, but you want to see, does it fit here? Does it serve a purpose? And the credibility for every speech will be different. If you're, for example, for Yvonne, if she's sharing the business awareness speech, then she's putting credibility about business. But if she's sharing a personal story of overcoming the fear of driving on the highway, then she can share the credibility as I'm a highway phobia survivor, and this is my story. Can't hear you. You're muted, Yvonne.
I could have done that one. You know all my business, don't you?
See? So the credibility is. And let me start recording.
Yeah.
Sorry for this. Okay, it's good that it came back quickly. So we stopped. I don't want to cut your conversation. Also, if there were.
No, we are just sharing how being a female, we never accept we are leader. So I'm just saying this is one of thing. I have so many stories because I really want to pinpoint. Like every incident is for me a story. So for me, I'm having difficulty. Which story should I share?
Yes, because you're aware of all your stories, which is very important.
Yeah, like about cooking. So being a South Asian, I know how to cook and I love my cooking. But here in Europe, I want to keep it separate. Whenever I say, okay, don't talk about my cooking, because I'm feeling you are making us, we only mothers, we only know how to cook. So that's why I'm aggressively saying, no, cooking is separate, different. I know cook. I'm a very good host. I can invite every people and I can in a one time, can cook for 25 people. That's not issue. But my cooking is not my restriction. You are making its limitation.
Yeah, and here I think because you're using this example, I think sometimes when women leaders, strong women leaders, do not talk about this side, it makes it isolated from leadership. I mean, it makes it something that leaders do not have.
Yeah.
As if you have it, you're not a leader. If you don't have it, you're a leader. But if confident women leaders share also
I talk about food all the time.
about
Yeah.
food and how
I
amazing
talk about food
housewives,
24/7s.
how amazing parents, how amazing
Recipes.
housewives, how amazing mothers, how amazing wives they are, because that's not isolated. We are human. We are not only leaders. We're human.
I know what Alina means, though. It's a bit like people assuming that you must do that role. That's the resistance, isn't it?
And I get it completely, but because they're assuming, when you share it with strength, you're giving it power on itself. Because when we say they're assuming that we do this role, as if we're saying this role doesn't suit me, they shouldn't assume that I'm doing it, but it's a good role. I'm not a good cook and I'm not proud of it, but I mean, I can cook if I want, but I don't. But the thing is, when we say this is a role that we don't want to be attached to, it's because they put it as a role that we think we don't want to be attached to. But if we are proud of it, still being leaders, still being confident, still being strong, while also being a good cook, it's a good thing. This is what. Yes.
I was going to say it's polarized. Like it's quite polarized. You're either a successful career woman, or you're a good mother and a good housewife, or a good wife and a good whatever. But that it's difficult. Like, I know exactly what you mean. Like being the two things together. People are like, you can't be two things. It's either this or that.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
actually, you know what? I'm both. I can be both, and I enjoy being both.
Yeah.
But it's quite hard because those assumptions come all the time.
The more women leaders sharing their stories of other strengths beside business and formal things, it becomes more natural, it becomes more normal, it becomes more celebrated. But when we isolate the leaders here, the other ones are here, then we always say, okay, if I'm a leader,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Then it becomes even more marginalized.
We are participating without being aware to this marginalization. So I would always encourage.
Because we're empowered. Yeah, because we're powerful, you have the choice. Well, that's how I see it. If you're empowered, you have the choice to say it wherever you like. And I don't feel nobody can put me in a cooking box.
Yeah.
So I would talk about food all day long, because you just cannot put me in that box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes.
But you see what happens also when we stop ourselves from, I'm a mom. If I stop myself from speaking about motherhood just because now I'm a businesswoman as well and I don't want people to connect and all of these things, then I'm also giving a kind of a message, sending a message to those who are only moms that you can never be leaders because you either be this or that.
Yeah.
But when you
I did that when I was younger. And then I've come full circle as I got older, and I talk about my son and the birth of my son being my greatest achievement, above and beyond everything else. If I talk about my life, that's what I say. That being a mother and bringing a life into this world is a great privilege and achievement. And then I can talk about all the other academic achievements after that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think it's all coming.
When I was young, I didn't do that. People used to ask when I was young, people just say, "Oh, I didn't know you had any children."
I think it's all coming from the past. Where did it all emerge? When only men were leaders. Most of these men had, I would assume, most of them had issues. Because if we are talking about our world, most of us, at least either African, Jamaican, so we're not Western. The people who are here, we're not Western. the men raised up in my world saying, you're a man. You don't talk about your family. You're strong. You don't cry. You don't show emotions. You don't be vulnerable. All of these things. So the men are brought up oppressed. And then they become leaders. They make all the mess, but they also do some successes. And what they share is just the toughness. And then we think that's success. And when we try to imitate that unconsciously, because a leader is this, that's what we've seen. These are the examples we've seen. We think everything else doesn't resonate, because if you connect me to that, you're saying I'm not a leader. No, don't put me in that box. I'm in this box.
Yeah.
But we're still putting ourselves in boxes.
Yeah, Omi, I don't want to detract our conversation, but as you said about this description of ourselves when we do our introduction, I felt this. So being a brown female, I always never say I'm a mother or housewife or cook or something. I always say, okay, I'm running this organization and I'm working this and that. But I saw my Dutch friends or European friends or people from the white colony. They always say, oh, I'm a mother of two, or I'm a father of two, or I love to cook, or this. And why I'm consciously doing that, because in South Asian culture we always assume like women, they're in office, Vido and Aishwarya know, they always talk about their family, their children issue, this, and I want to detach it consciously or unconsciously. So I never say, hardly people who are very close to me, they know I'm married, I have 2 children. I never talk about my children. I have 2 teenager children, and if you go to my social media, you hardly see, because I consciously do not want to put like I am like having family or something. This is my personal issue. I'm
Yes,
religious or not religious, this is my personal issue.
that's true.
I'm
My
trying
son
to
isn't on my social media.
so I don't know, but I
Okay.
found I consciously doing that. Being an Asian, they don't think I'm only mother or only family person, but I want to show I'm a very serious professional female. I'm struggling to put my professionalism because of my brownness. They do not take me so much serious as a professional person. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm going through this. This is my also one story. See, so much more story.
This is an important story here. This is an important story. And you said so many important things here that what stick to my head specifically is that you want to be looked at as a serious professional person. I think sometimes we are too serious about seeming as serious professional people, and that what makes us appear differently. Because if we're professional, we don't have to be too serious. And I think you can see it clearly in very intelligent men leaders. They are never too serious. They will come and talk about their families, they will talk about their weekend, they will talk about their children, they will joke about life, they will ask us about our families. And I remember my 60 years old German boss, a man who was the head of the project in Libya, and he's a highly achieving individual. Then he went into even politics. Every time he comes, he would share stories about his wife. He would share stories about his dog. He will tell me what he did in the weekend. He will ask me about my parents. He will tell me advices on how I should choose my future partner. He will do all of that. And he was very inspiring for me, because he didn't only talk about business. He connected with me as a person, because we as people, and we forget it sometimes in business, we forget that we are people, we are human. And what connects us is being human, not the business itself. And the business, if we detach our humanity from business, the business doesn't go well. And most importantly, we don't go well. We just start trying to pretend something that's not us, because we are not detached from our humanity. And our humanity is complex. It's not just being a businesswoman. It's not just being this project manager. It's being a human. It's all part of it. It's part of our charisma. It's part of our values. It's part of our learning. It's part of our story. But I believe from what I know in life, and all of you have different stories that can enrich this conversation. From what I lived and experienced in life, the more we try to be something that our nature is not, the more difficult it becomes and the more negative energy we receive, the more resentment we keep adding to our hearts. But if we're living life as who we are, this is me, people will start accepting us for just who we are, and they start celebrating us for who we are. Life becomes more difficult when we try to be something that they accept. It's much easier
I
when
tell you
we're
what's
something that who we are.
the real challenge about that is when you decide, let me own it. When I decide to realign yourself with your humanity. Because I remember when I started my company, I decided that I wanted the company to be known and not necessarily me. And one of my friends said, but everyone knows it's you. You're not that big. Your company is not big. It's only you and a couple of associates. What do you mean? You want to be you know what I mean? So you can, and yes, no one knew I was a parent. Anybody that found out I had a son was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were a mom. And that became very common. And I think now I find it really difficult because people have a perception of me and I don't recognize myself, that person anymore, if you get my meaning. And so for me, I find it really incredibly difficult. And I feel as though I'm going to have to really, I say shock people, but if I talk about my personal life, people will be surprised because this is not who they think I am. And I'm becoming more and more annoyed as I go through spiritual transformation and as I grow, I'm becoming more and more annoyed that people presume that I am this person. I created this thing, but they presume I'm this thing.
Yeah. I'll use a saying that we use in Arabic, and please forgive me if it's it might sound insulting, but it's not meant to be insulting, but it says that we build a lie and then we live it, believe it.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
We create a lie, we formulate a lie, and then we believe it. And then people believe it, and then we don't recognize who we really are because we are this.
Yes, because you spend all your time trying to be this efficient, this.
Oh my God, Yvonne, I think that would be an amazing speech for you.
Oh God.
And we said we're getting out of our comfort zone.
Even videos laughing. Oh my God. Not another one.
It's because it's gonna be a good story, Yvonne. It's your reaction. It's your reaction that's making me react.
I'm just sharing with Anila the end results of this kind of thing.
What is it?
No, I'm just saying. Last week I missed a meeting. Like literally did miss a meeting with external partners, and I was like, because that never happened, not in my life, and I was fine. The world didn't end. Nothing happened. Do you know what I mean? But the old me, oh my God, grief, no. Can't miss a meeting. You've missed a meeting. I think I'm going to be judged. All kind of foolish nonsense. I told myself. Yes. I don't think anybody even noticed I wasn't there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We can put ourselves in this straitjacket, this thing, and it's when you want to come out, boy, it's hard.
And I think it all starts with us taking ourselves too seriously and taking life too seriously. Because really, if we look at life as a game that we're playing and eventually we'll get out of, we just do the best we can while enjoying it. Life becomes easy. If we look at it as this war that we are living and we want to win it, because if we don't win it, then we are losing it, and other people are winning it, but that doesn't work, and we have to change the world and all of these things, then it becomes pretty hard. And if we lose any one battle that we're seeing as a battle, if we lose it, we get depressed, and it hits us too hard. It's all in our
very
head.
hard. Yeah, very hard.
It's all up to us, how we want to look to the world, how we want to see the world. So going back, if anybody has a reflection on that, I would be happy to hear. Otherwise, we can move on with the specific of this session, which is the speech. So, Yvonne, do you know what you're going to share? What's your story?
The learning from failure, because I did write all of them out. I wrote out the learning from failure. I wrote the stepping out of your comfort zone. And I wrote a long piece on the feeling of success. That was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. So I think it's the hardest one for me, I think, is to talk about. It's going to be learning from failure.
And the hardest usually is the deepest.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Okay. So who's ready to start together working in depth on her detail, on her speech?
Right now?
Yes, we have kind of 40 minutes.
Okay.
What do you want us to do as part of that? Like, what does working in
Working
depth?
on it, it means we share screen. You will be sharing screen with me and writing while we are kind of brainstorming together. How does this look? How does this sound? What do we put here?
So, I mean, I'm happy. I don't know. I think there might be others who are more advanced than me on this. So, guys, please say. I'll tell you where I am. I've done I haven't got to the body yet, because that's the bit that I'm probably most confident in. Like, I feel like I can. Some of the body will come quite naturally because I know the story.
Yes.
I've started to work through the specific purpose, the hidden purpose, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm happy to start, unless someone else has got something that's a bit more developed.
I think, shall we start with video? And what we will be doing, we will not go in depth as writing the script. We'll just talk about what comes here and what comes there. And then the script, you will write it on your own because it will need more concentration. It will need to come from you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'll give it a go.
So let me share my screen. No, you share your screen with me, but I give you permission.
Sorry, am I sharing my screen, or are you going to share your?
You're sharing. I am giving you permission, and you're sharing your screen.
Okay, cool. So, gosh, let's have a look. It is this one, I think. I've got so many things open at the moment. Can you see it? And can you see my the speech itself?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, my thinking so far. So the general purpose of the speech, mainly inspirational. I was really struck by what you were saying on in the lessons that you were giving about it being entertaining. I don't think naturally I'm entertaining. Like, I don't think I can land jokes very well. It doesn't come naturally to me, so I steer away from that sort of stuff. But I did think it would be nice to at least get a couple of laughs if I can. I don't know if that'll work or not, but the main aim is for it to be an inspirational speech. The specific purpose, so the bits that I've highlighted yellow are the bits that I'm still working through. So it's about reminding us to appreciate the kindness of others. That's my specific purpose. But this is what I was worried about in terms of it being preachy. And I think maybe, Ashori, what you were saying is that, you know, the point you were making about actually sometimes you have to say it. You can't just assume everyone wants to be kind. Like, so maybe it is. Anyway, that's where that is. So
So
by the end of the speech, and this is using some of the words that, again, I heard in the videos this week, you'll be able to reflect on times when you've experienced kindness and remember to pay it forward. So that's like the thing or the tool that they walk away with, is that prompt of, actually, yeah, people have been kind to me. There have been times in my life when people have been kind. And then the call to action becomes remember to pay it forward, because that would be the bit that I would say at the very end and tie it all together. So the hidden purpose, I don't have a hidden purpose. And I was just writing this, Omni, as you were speaking about sharing it, because I love people, I guess. So there isn't an not an ulterior motive, but there isn't anything, from here, I'm not trying to get any market intel or anything like that. It's purely, this is an experience I've had. I want to share this experience. And from this experience, I want people to remember how fortunate we are to have kindness.
Good.
Right. So then the hook. So this is my opening. When was the last time you showed and shared kindness to a stranger? When was the last time a stranger showed or shared kindness to you? Remember how it felt. What were you doing? Where were you? And most importantly, how did it make you feel? So that's the opening. And I'm hoping that by asking these questions and by using the senses, they're sort of, they can think back to actually that visual illustration, having a scenario, and just using multiple. It's about using lots of senses effectively, like really evoking that sense of when was it? Think about it. Where were you? Place yourself in that situation. What was going on in your life? And then the link here was something about. So how did it make you feel? And then I was going to probably say something, and this is what I was saying about the transition and struggling. So then I was going to say. So, today I want to share a story with you. It was a day I'll never forget, a day where I experienced the highs and lows of being human. And the biggest thing I took away was the kindness of strangers and how important that kindness is to being human. Something along those lines. And then I'll go into the body. But yeah, that's how far I've gotten. The benefits. Again, I think this is where I was doing a little bit of maybe Ashara, what you were doing in terms of really trying to pick out, here are the benefits, here's my credibility. But actually after today's conversation, it feels like it's not necessary. I can go straight from my hook to the transition, to the body. But yeah, that's as far as I've gotten. And then I can tell the story.
Yes. Okay, can we go up a little bit more? Now,
Yeah.
I like how were you starting in the hook.
So here.
I like it because you're starting soft and you're helping them be there. So starting to remember. But do you think if we wanna brainstorm together, do you think there is even another way to make them more engaged?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the other option is so the benefits of the speech was, so something about kindness being seen as a weakness. It a little bit builds on the conversation we've just been having at the moment. Kindness can often be seen as a weakness. It's not associated with being assertive.
Yes, I like the argument you built here, because here you're trying to build an argument.
Yeah.
Which is important. Now, if you want to trigger the argument before you say it, what can the trigger be to people?
So sorry, say that again.
If you want to trigger the argument, meaning you're saying that kindness can be seen as weakness.
Sorry.
You're not hearing me?
Rio's got a nosebleed. Can you ask Daddy? Just get some tissue and put it on his nose. That's okay.
I'm sorry. So what I'm saying is, you're starting to talk about kindness can be seen as weakness. Before going there, because you went in the beginning, you were soft, and you were asking people to think how it felt. But then you're bringing them to the first, that some people think that argument, that kindness is weak. But in order to be actually effective with them, just a minute, I think I need to recharge. It's not charging. My computer is not charging. Just 1 second, please. So I'm back. So what I wanted to say, Vido, in order to, because you want their emotions to be with you. So if you bring them to a soft place where they see kindness as a good place, but then bring them back and say kindness can seem as weakness, and you want to build something around this argument, they've already reached it from your hook. Do you know what can you see what I'm trying to say? You've already made them feel through your hook that kindness is good.
Right.
But then you're telling them that kindness can seem weak. But you've already proved in the hook that it's not. I think to make it even stronger, you want something that triggers their thought of kindness as not as weak, so you can start building things around it. So
would you ask a question like, how many of you have ever felt taken advantage of? Or how many of you have ever felt your kindness has been abused? Or
by a show of hand, yes.
Yeah, show of hands. Yeah, show of hands. Okay.
So using that rather than the when was the last time someone was kind to you sort of thing. So actually starting with the harsh reality of kindness not being seen as a positive thing, or
yes,
and then the journey you take them on is
because you want to take them, you want to shift emotions, right? You want to take them from here to here. But if you start here and then in the middle you go here a little bit and then you go back, it's not a shift. Do you get me?
Can the juxtaposition happen? For example, like if you start with the negative, which is how many of you all thought that being kind was actually detrimental, and then you say that on the other hand, think of all the times that being kind made you feel nice about yourself. And if you feel that by being nice, the positive feeling that you got was sort of outweighing the negative feeling that you were getting by feeling that you were being taken, for a ride, then obviously the benefits outweigh the negatives, and then you go on to why we should be kind. Can that be one way? Or
it can be, but it feels, how does it feel for you when you just said it now? How does it feel, Aishwarya?
I'm just trying to see if you're starting with something unfavorable, if you're prodding the audience to think negative with respect to how did you not benefit by being kind? If you're starting with that thought, but you want to bring them back to a positive thought, which is, but also look at all the times by when you were kind, that you felt nicer, and maybe much more nicer than you would have felt bad. So therefore, and then whatever Vidu you've written about, that kindness is chemical and how it actually does give you a sense of feel good and all of that. I mean, I don't know whether I'm trying to.
I see what you're trying to say, and I think it's very valuable that you're not leaving them with the negative emotions. But the thing is, it's the purpose of the whole story to take them from here to here. That's because if you put everything in one place, then you're not taking them in the journey. That's the idea. That doesn't mean, however, that we always need to start with the negative. But for the sake of this specific speech, at least what I'm seeing, and I would love to hear also from Yvonne and Anila, also of course Vido, how does it sound for you? If you start already making the full argument, all of it with go negative, like how does it feel? Were you bettered? Or so take them to the negative emotions and then the positive emotions and then back building the argument and then taking the story. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's an interesting, because I'd forgotten about that aspect of the journey. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I've got the right story. I think I'm still trying to work out what my story is about. Like, it's a great story, but is it about kindness, or is it about, going through a number of emotions in a day?
What's your story? Tell us your story.
Okay, so I started it when I recorded it for our session not so long ago, right? A few years ago, when I was at university, one of the jobs that I did, and it was a job that I chose to do because I really wanted to challenge myself and put myself out there, was I signed up every summer to go and sell books door to door. And I would fly to the States, and I'd never been to the United States before. And the company that I was working with, I footed the bill myself, so there was no financial investment from them. We would get a week's worth of training, and we would get sent to like deepest, darkest parts of the United States to go and sell books. And this was 100% commission. So I was earning my keep as I went. It involved me working 80-hour weeks. It involved me working on 80, knocking on between 50 and 60 doors a day. And the success was, get 2 customers a day and you will make money. So it was pretty hardcore. And it was definitely for me one of the hardest things that I've ever done, but also in some ways incredible, because I've had some incredible experiences as a result of that. The story itself was one specific Saturday morning, and Saturdays were considered the big day of the week because mum and dad are at home. People typically are going to spend money if they want to spend money. And I was having what was considered a super Saturday. So I'd knocked on all of these doors. The first thing that was amazing was a lot of people answered the door. So that's huge. So you're riding on a high. A lot of people have answered the door to you. And it just so happened that within the space of, 3 or 4 hours, I had sold a lot of books and I was having my best day. So emotionally, I was in a really good place. I was having my best day. People were answering the door to me. It's 12 o'clock. I've still got 8 hours of selling ahead of me. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And this is where I finished, so this is where I was in the middle of the story when I've run out of time. But essentially, like, I remember it so well. I was driving my car, having my sandwich, feeling on top of the world. And as I'm driving, I'm looking at my map and trying to navigate and see where I'm going. And suddenly the heavens open, pouring with rain. I look up and there's no road ahead of me. There wasn't, like, the road turned right, like a complete right-hand turn. And in that moment, in that split second, I had to make a decision about, I'm not going to make this turn. There is a pole in front of me. If I keep driving straight, I'm going to hit this pole and I'm going to hurt myself. But if I turn a little bit, there's a cornfield. So the decision I made was, right, go into the cornfield, take your foot off the accelerator, and you'll stop. What I hadn't anticipated was that there was a ditch. So what I hadn't seen was the ditch. So instead of going into the cornfield, I drove into the ditch. I'm in the middle of deepest, darkest America. We didn't have mobile phones. I've crashed my car. My seatbelt is up against my shoulders. And now I've gone from being on the highest height to being terrified because I'm by myself, not knowing where I am. And I remember so distinctly, patting myself down. Have I broken anything? Can I breathe? Am I bleeding? So again, very emotional, like very human emotions. You go from being ecstatic to being in survival mode. And it really was just survival mode. I get myself out of the car and I'm stood there going, okay, what do I need to do? And I was bleeding from my legs. So I was like, I need to get myself some help. I need to get to hospital because I am hurt. So I walked around a little bit and I spotted a farmhouse. So I made it to that farmhouse and I knocked on this door, complete strangers. And I opened, you know, this family opened the door and they were a bit shocked, a bit surprised, but they let me in and they called the ambulance for me and they didn't have to do this. So this is the bit about strangers helping. They didn't have to do this. They called the ambulance, they gave me a glass of water, they asked if they could do anything else to help. And I was like, actually, probably not. You know, I need to get help. They got me the help. And it was only when I was in the ambulance, the paramedic was checking me and he said, okay, I think you're going to have to go to hospital. You need some stitches, but actually I think you'll be okay. And I remember so well holding his hand in that ambulance, terrified because I was completely by myself. And he said to me, you know, and I said, I really want my mum. That's who I wanted. And he said to me, he said, you know, I can't get you your mum, but I'm here to look after you. So that's the story, is that kindness. It means so much in the moment. And what I want people to take away is how moments like that can mean so much. Like, this is 20 years later and it still makes me so emotional.
How old were you, Vidhu?
I was 20 at the time. I was 20 at the time. And these are people who didn't really have to help me. You know, that family didn't have to open the door. They didn't have to call the ambulance. They could have seen a person bleeding on their doorstep in the pouring rain in the middle of nowhere going, you know, she's a crazy woman. That paramedic didn't have to hold my hand and tell me that even though my mother wasn't there, he was going to help and look after me. So there's something there for me that is, the emotions you feel, being on top of the world, feeling terrified, and then the immense gratitude when you find people who look out for you.
You would have done that, Vidhu. You strike me as the kind of person who would have done that.
I would have. I hope I would have, and I do. You know, now in my life, like, so the point is, how many times have we had these guardian angels in our lives at a time when maybe we weren't expecting it, and how do we pass that on to other people? How can we be those guardian angels for other people? Because you never know when you might need them, or you never know when somebody else might need that.
When do you remember this story, Vidhu?
When, sorry?
When do you remember it? When does it come back to you, the story?
A lot of times. But often, interestingly, it comes up as a fun, crazy thing I did as a teenage, you know, as a young or like an old teen, early 20s person. It rarely comes up as a very deep story of help or vulnerability. It mostly comes up as, oh yeah, and then I did this crazy thing and people were amazing and they helped me out, and, you know, and like my car got written off.
But that, it comes to you when you're saying it. You say it to people there, but when does it come back to you when you're alone? When do you remember it?
When do I remember it? I think when do I remember it? Probably when I see other people who I feel are far away from their families, or people who are vulnerable. I think because I was very vulnerable in that moment. I was completely on my own in that moment.
What changed in you because of this story? Can you remember? Can you feel that anything changed?
What changed? Probably even, I'm like, I like to think that I'm quite emotionally intelligent person, and, you know, I think even more in this sense of when people are at not their lowest. What changed? Never to make assumptions about people and where they're coming from. You're just always being the person who will go and help and offer to help. I don't know if that changed or if it just made it even more prevalent, because I would, you know, usually quite helpful, instinctively quite a helpful soul. So I don't know if it changed it, but I think it just showed the importance even more. So yeah, I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's about kindness. I don't know if it's about human emotion, vulnerability.
It's about all of them. You choose. It's what I'm seeing also, just to add in that, is that in one moment your only concern was earning profit, being happy, successful, and like feeling that you're achieving, and in a matter of a second you were in a survival mode. All you wanted is a shelter, or all you wanted is help.
Yeah.
Everything in your pocket, all the money that you earned in your pocket, did not help. Had no value. All you wanted is a human next to you that can help you.
And also you had the vulnerability to leave where you were, fly to America on your own, knocking on doors in a remote place. And I can imagine the houses were probably quite distant from each other.
Very far, yeah.
And you didn't feel vulnerable. You seem to be very confident in that setting, because that's a huge step. But then this accident happened and you felt totally vulnerable and at risk, and you didn't before. So that, I find that fascinating personally. That you were definitely shielded by something, which went when you find yourself in a different circumstance. Because to leave a country, go to America's such a crazy place, and a remote place in America.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think the part of the reason I'm struggling is there's so many different things going on here. I think that's a really interesting point about, but yeah, about being quite confident and going and doing this crazy thing, and of course it was terrifying and it was really hard work, but I did it. And it wasn't until that moment, it was in that moment where I was like, bloody hell, I'm a million miles away from anyone and I have no money, no cash, nothing. So we couldn't communicate in the same way that you do now with people. And this was before mobile phones. But I'm struggling to find what's the message?
Another lesson that I'm seeing that could also work is the value of taking a leap of faith, and just doing something, moving out of your comfort zone. You don't know anyone, something that for most of us is very dangerous. We wouldn't do. You just did it, and you had faith. You wouldn't do it if you didn't have faith that things will be okay. And even when you were in that very tough situation, you had faith, because if you hadn't, you wouldn't have walked in that emptiness under the rain and go knock on a stranger's door barefoot, injured, and assume people would help. But you had faith.
Yeah, maybe that's the big thing, is the importance of just doing something.
And then you were introduced to all this kindness, and still it's affecting you. It's still touching you, the kindness you received. So as a listener here, as an audience to this story here, what I think I would always remember is, whenever there is a slightest way of giving something so simple to help someone, we don't belittle it and say, no, they don't need it. Mm-hmm. Because many times it's not that people do not want to give, but people do not see the value in them giving something that's not materialistic. But you see, you didn't need any material back then. You only needed someone who will make you feel safe, and someone who would hold your hand and say something nice to you.
So it's almost like not underestimating the power of the smallest gesture.
Yes. So for me, this is specifically what I'm personally getting out of it, because
me too, things that money can't buy.
Yeah. And even the smallest thing can stick to people's heads and hearts forever. We don't, if we want to be generous, it's not just about giving money.
Yeah. Okay.
How does that sound for you?
I like the don't underestimate the power of the smallest gesture. I think that's quite a nice way of closing almost, because I think that's the right way to leave people is, you know, and through sharing the story. I guess the thing I'm still trying to work out is this I think it's still a story of kindness.
Yeah, but
It's still a story.
It's not, I don't see it as kindness, kindness in comparison to being the weakness or connecting kindness with weakness. No, it's about what is kindness and what is generosity.
And maybe it's a value in it, isn't it? It's how it can make you feel. Because at that moment, if somebody gave you £1 million, it probably wouldn't make any difference to you.
You know.
Know what I mean? And people always equate money with, yeah. It's such a powerful story.
It
Very
is.
moving. The impact on you, you know, like the story in and of itself is, you know, I believe in human kindness and compassion. So to me, that's normal. And I think I would just assume that human beings would do that because I would. But what I find really powerful is the impact on yourself and maybe the learning and the shift in yourself. And that's what makes it really powerful.
And that's what we need to highlight as well, because you told the whole story beautifully, but you jumped into the unknown value before actually highlighting how did you feel. You showed the emotions, but I think it's important to articulate, what did this give you?
Cool. I will work on it. I will work on it, and I don't want to hog the whole time. So let's do another one. Thank you, guys. That's super helpful.
Bravo. I look forward. Who would like to go next? We only have actually 10 minutes because I'm also assuming my daughter will be exactly on the hour by the door. So if any of you would like to share, like Vido shared the story, would you like to share the story and we help together with walking the structure?
So I need to do mine again then, don't I, Amnia? Yeah, I thought so. and then when we've done it, we have this coaching again, or what happens after that?
So the idea is next week or during this week, you will be working on preparation, which is more of rehearsing and getting ready for the delivery. Our last coaching session will be about practicing together, rehearsing together. So you'll be delivering the speech in front of everyone, finalizing it, and then you'll have 2 weeks on your own to work on it. Make sure you kind of perfectionize it. You get hold on everything, and on the delivery day you're ready. That's the idea. However, I am ready to add an extra session for you if you want. But what I usually see that when I do that, people shift all the work to that. So let's say now that next session you will be delivering your speech to the group. Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, and it will be on after 2 weeks or 1 week?
No, next week we will be delivering. Yeah, next week, and
on,
then
on like on Monday or on Sunday?
oh yeah, thank you for that. I think we go back to our usual time on Sunday, right?
Okay.
So our usual time we meet, which is meaning only in 6 days, we meet again, and you will be delivering your speech. What I'm going to do now Okay, here's what will happen. I don't think you will need the preparation week now. You don't need more lessons. You need to work on your structure. You need to work on your speech. So I will not open the last week for you today. You work on your speech. You make sure everything is ready. You make sure you love your speech. You're happy with your speech. And after we do the rehearse together, you will get the ideas about preparation and all of that, because it won't make sense for you now to attend more lessons while you're not ready with the speech itself. Does that make sense?
And what's the time duration? 10 minutes, 15 minutes for the speech?
From 7 to 10 minutes. The speech is 7 to 10 minutes. And a rule of thumb is for every 130 words, you will take 1 minute. Vidhu?
You are muted, Vidhu.
And I was just repeating it, 130 words per minute. I'd be so interesting to see how many words per minute we normally say, because I have no idea if that's slower than how I speak or faster than how I speak, or...
Well, actually, I've been just recording a week about the power of your voice and the vocal variety and all of that. That will be in stage 3. And there should be a balance between going fast and slow and fast and slow. And the average of that should help you reach the timing, because nobody should be speaking too fast all the time or too slow all the time. We need to move with the story. So is there any question? Do you feel ready and confident of the topic you will be speaking about? Okay, Anila's nodding confidently. Aishwarya is...
Until
Yeah?
I write it, I will not feel the confidence until I actually write it.
Okay,
But yes, I'm happy at least I know the theme. It is a broad theme. So yeah.
good. And Yvonne, how is it for you?
I'm really glad I did the work. I'm proud of myself because I don't know what I would do now. So I've got to take that text and reformat it in the template, and then have the courage to say it because it's personal.
Exactly. And remember to give details and to show emotions and to tell about the different things, like give context. As you were asking Vidhu, how old were you? So Vidhu, you can add that detail to your speech. When I was 20, because it matters. Or you can say 20 years ago. But if you say I was 20, it just shows how young you were and the adventure you were taking in that age. So yeah, I look forward to next week. We agree, no lessons this week. You focus on the speech. Please do the work. I hope this will also give time for Maria to focus on her speech. I hope she would watch the recording. And if you have any question during the week, don't hesitate. Record and send me. I'll be happy to answer. And I think all of you now can give value to each other. If you feel stuck, share it. Don't be stuck on your own. Good?
Is everyone else also working really hard to not use filler words this week?
Oh God, I hope not.
How is it going? Really?
Nerves make you do that as well, don't they? Nerves and
Did you
anxiety.
record? Did you use voice messages?
A bit more, a bit, but not much. I was doing some interviews today, and it's amazing how off-putting it is now. I mean, now that you've highlighted it to me, all I could hear was I was so tempted to stop that candidate and be like, just take a minute, stop using filler words. So
Yeah, I hate it on a Clubhouse. You go into a Clubhouse room and someone's trying to speak, and it's like, oh, it's awful. I just move on to the next room. I hate it.
Yeah, that's what awareness does.
Maybe laugh.
It's funny that, isn't it? And then you see, Clubhouse is a great place for us to go to see articulation and to learn.
What is Clubhouse?
Oh, sorry. It's this app that
Continue.
sucks up your time. You really don't want to know.
Okay.
It's
What
an
is
audio-based app. I didn't try it yet, but it's an audio-based app. So rather than you writing like Facebook or posting photos like Instagram, you're talking.
Yeah, no, for me, it feel like a radio time. It's feel like it's a radio channel and you are listening. It's like a auntie
yes,
of your street. They are just on the radios because everyone can walk in to your room.
it's your room, yes.
It seems like gossiping aunties.
Yeah. And the topics range from anything you can imagine. They're talking about anything you can imagine.
It's
See,
like an audio chat room.
I
is
didn't
it?
say gossip uncles, but I said gossiping aunties.
I heard you, Anila. I heard you. There's gossiping uncles in there. There's loads of them.
See?
But this course really has highlighted, like good oration. People, it really has highlighted it, honestly, because there are some people who are really good speakers, who I admire the way they speak, like flawless. I get to especially if I'm in a room on a topic, I get too emotional. I just think, Yvonne, you need to learn how to just speak without getting so wound up, or if it's something I'm not emotional about, it's a bit better. I practice, what do you call it, pausing and all that stuff. And I say, oh, it's Yvonne and I'm done speaking. But if I'm emotional, it's like, ooh, oh, I finished now. It's good practice.
I'm very happy to hear that you're starting really to grasp this awareness and see it in other people. I know it doesn't make life easier,
No.
but it makes us better auditors
Yeah.
and maybe help others. So one of the things, actually, I think it's not with the tips that I gave you in the lesson. It was in the previous version, but I think I missed saying it. Is using an accountability partner. So those of you who live with someone, I do this with my husband all the time. Those of you who live with someone, ask them to be your accountability partner, the one that picks on you, that picks your ahs and flows. My husband and I do that all the time. Sometimes he said, one thing that I was doing so much is saying, wow. I didn't realize that I say wow all the time. And he started highlighting it. I found out that if he says, I went to the supermarket and I brought this and this, and I say, okay, wow. I say, okay, why wow? Why are you wowing this? Sometimes it's harsh, but it helps because we don't hear ourselves. We pick it from other people randomly without awareness, but we need to be aware of it in order to be in control of how we speak.
Yeah, that's the word. Be in control of how you speak. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I get so emotional about some things.
Sometimes it's not too bad to get emotional.
I know. And then I get lots of followers. When you look at my thing on Clubhouse, I've got like 15 followers. I'm like, yeah. But I'm not proud. I'm not proud I lost my rank.
So if you have invitations for an Android user, I would love to check it out.
Oh, I'll send you one. I'll send you invitations. Anybody who wants it, I'll send you invites. You don't have to use them. I'll see how many I've got.
Okay, wonderful. Thank
Because
you.
Android can use it now.
Yeah, they changed it. It was only for Apple's user.
Yeah.
They changed it.
Yeah, now also Android are privileged to use it.
Yes.
A waste of time.
It's a mad place. But you'd be good in there, you'd be good to have a room, Omnia.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. But as you said, it's a waste of time as well. So
It is a time. No, yeah.
But in order to do some marketing efforts, maybe it's
I think so.
Maybe.
I think so. Just
I'll
manage your
consider that.
time, isn't it? Mm.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you, ladies, for again changing the time today and being there for the full 2 hours. I appreciate all your valuable inputs and I look forward to next week. Enjoy your week until then. And as I said, if you feel stuck, don't be stuck on your own.
stuck with everyone.
We pull you up. Yeah. Don't get everybody else
Together.
stuck.
Okay. Bye.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye. Good evening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Stuck with everyone.
Bye bye.